The U.S. has invested significant resources to support young African leaders as they spark growth and prosperity, strengthen democratic governance, and enhance peace and security across Africa. In 2010, President Barack Obama launched the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, which has since held 15 exchanges and sponsored over 1,200 sub-Saharan scholars to visit America. Today, we have two of the 2014 YALI fellows with us, Lebohang Mokoena from South Africa and Ichikulupi Kisaka from Tanzania. Ladies, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, if I may begin with you, Lebohang, first let us know, what is it you do in South Africa?
Well, I'm a person in transit. So until very recently, I was working in the national government in higher education and training. But I will shortly be commencing with graduate studies in the area of industrial sociology. My interest is in the interface between skills development and industrial development in South Africa.
Okay. And Chikulupi in Tanzania, I know you're based in Dodoma. What exactly do you do there?
I'm a lawyer back home, and I work with the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania.
Yes, great. Now, this program is meant actually to really help enhance your skills so that when you go back home, you can apply these skills there. Tell me, what have you, up to this point, Lebohang, picked from the program? What is it that you already have gathered and put in the basket?
I think having worked as a civil servant in South Africa, the biggest area of interest has been state civil society relations in the US and how the state, particularly at the local level, is organized in partnership with civil society organizations to deliver on essential services across various sectors, be it education, be it healthcare. And so it's been an interesting way of understanding how public-private partnerships can be utilized to extend government services that we traditionally, especially in Africa, see solely as the responsibility of the state.
Yes. Now, Chikulupi, some people say that many people in Africa sometimes really know exactly what they ought to be doing. But what do you think you could inject into your work now when you go back to Tanzania?
I'd first like to advise my government on how they could engage with young people. Nowadays in our communities in Africa, the population of youth, it's increasingly big, and the major challenges is youth unemployment. So again, I'll try to see how the government can engage with youth to solve youth problems, and how they can engage in politics and solving all social aspects that affects our societies. Again, coming to America and see how the US government involves its people in development, how the local governments deal with people in the projects. All this together as a good lessons to bring back home.
Yes. Now, Lebohang, countries like South Africa have big institutions. They have generational gaps also. How do you find, working with those perhaps of the other generation, a little older, who have been used to doing things in a certain way? How can this experience be transferred to them?
To tell you the truth, Vincent, I have worked in government, and while I was reporting to people much senior than myself, I did find a very dynamic environment in government, surprisingly. But I think one of the things that I have learned, every institution we've gone to has interns, young people who are still at university, who are in some ways beginning to have work exposure. And I think that's a very subtle way of introducing new ideas into the workplace. And I'd certainly hope that it's something that we can massify, not just in the public sector in South Africa, because we already have internship programs in the public service, but broadly as a standard way of doing business, to involve young people in the day-to-day business of our institutions as a way of infusing creativity, innovation, and fresh ideas.
And Chikulupi, do you get the sense that the youth in Tanzania, for example, fully appreciate that today and the future really belongs to them, and they need to get increasingly involved in the mainstream running of things?
Totally, absolutely. Nowadays, youth are not lagging behind. We are taking up front. We're taking the actions to make sure that we're having pace with the development. Again, we understand the challenges that we have as youth, lack of education, proper education, youth unemployment. Again, we are trying to find ways how we can collaborate with the government to find solutions like job creation, but again, on our own self, we use our skills, networking, and how we can use technology to find job creations I believe there are some youth, for taking an example now back home, we're having writing a new constitution. So there are many youth programs that are run by youth and they're funded by themselves and with other donors also supporting youth initiatives. But again, you can find that youth are taking a front run to make sure that they're taking part in the development actions in our countries.
Yes. Now, final word, what would be your overall assessment of the YALI program?
Wow, in a single word, inspiring and exciting, but also a necessary intervention that has the potential to set Africa on a slightly different path. It's been amazing meeting young people from across the continent with the levels of commitment to the continent and to doing things differently. And it's been inspiring, and it's inspiring action as much as creativity and thought.
Okay, give your last word.
I would like to appreciate the President Obama initiative to invest in the young generation. Coming here to see how the U.S. government invests in the generation, the young generation, and I appreciate now that President Obama has opened eyes to the Africans to invest in the generation, because we believe now Africans, young generation is the leading to make sure the Africa continent become bright, become developed, because we believe the young generation have the power to make it happen.
Yeah, and I think we can mention that all these young people are taken from all sectors. And not necessarily from one area.
And not just government,
which means when they go back, they can inject all these wonderful ideas and spirit into all sectors of economies and development. Well, thank you very much, Lebohang and Chikulupi.
Thank you very
nice
much.
being with you here. Well, Lebohang Mokoena is from South Africa, and Chikulupi Kisaka hails from Tanzania. Both are 2014 Young African Leaders Initiative Fellows, YALI.